Okay, new day, new hand. Queens, two people calling. So I'm gonna bump this up. 22. Not know what they wanna do. I've picked up 8 9 flush draw. The C bet takana. I have to see what they have. Yes, King Hydra fold. Yes, King Hydra. I think he's gonna call either way. So let's see. It's a difficult one. I don't know. Yes, King might go all in. Wow. Wow. That was a good jump C bet. Whew. It's always a scary board when king is there with queens in hand. I got away with that out of position. Full house ಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. So I'm just going to re-raise him, pump it up. Wanna check back. No ace, buddy. Oh! I beat him. This was a good hand. This was a good hand. So yeah, couple of good hands. So I'm just back at it. Two pairs. I don't know what he wants to do. Pocket sevens, another withdrew. I cannot help it, but I have to go all in. It's 10. I have to dodge a 10. For God's sake. At least E Sati I have to. Do it. No 9 on the turn. ನೋಡೋಣ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ. 3 for $17. I'm just gonna cash out. ಅದೇ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ನಂಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ I'm just cashing out. We have an interesting hand here, 9s, and I might just call him and hope to hit a 9 on the flop, but I missed. $13 raise ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ, so I might have a big hand. I cannot raise because ನಾನು raise ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ he might just go, just push me again, so I might just check back. This ace is a very bad card. On range ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಂಗಿದೆ ಅದು. But let's see what he wants to do. Yeah, it's a bad card. It's a very bad card. Unfortunately, I cannot call. I mean, I can call and represent a flush complete adre, but I don't want to do this from this position. I don't think he's doing it. That was a good part, but I think on bad call ಮಾಡ್ದ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. But yeah, we take advantage. We are in the bad side of it early morning.
Poker. First, let's meet the players. Hi, Corey Iring. I mainly play 2-5, but I've played upwards of 100, 200, and I got cooked. Everyone thinks I'm bad at poker. I have a poker blog, and I'm probably mainly known for gambling my net worth. Here to answer some questions about poker theory. Let's see if anyone cares. My name is Charlie Cow, and I started playing poker 11 years ago. My story is that I turned $50 into millions of dollars, and about 5 or 6 years ago I retired, and I started my charity. And I also started Elite University, which is my coaching site. I've coached people for thousands of hours, mostly for free, across all of the stakes, from absolute free roll micro stakes to the highest stakes that people can play on. By the way, thank you very much for inviting me on. I am very recently a huge fan of your content. So, we are both retired, washed up poker players. We're greasy old men just trying to get our way back in the industry. For this experiment, I'm going to walk them through pre-flop so they all get to the flop in the exact same way. Then they will walk us through their thought process post-flop. Now remember, I said there is a twist. So for the first hand, they will have a 1-minute shot clock for each decision. For the second hand, they will have 45 seconds. Third hand, 30 seconds. Fourth hand, 20 seconds. And on the fifth and final hand, they will have only 10 seconds for every decision. Let's turn up the pressure. Now, I have gone through these hands and built out contingencies for every scenario that is likely to occur. For example, if hero checks back the flop, villain will bet 40 on the turn, or if hero raises river, villain will fold to any amount over 550. Ready? Let's jump in. Alright, so in this first hand, we are playing 5, 10, 2,000 effective, folds all the way around to us on the button. We're going to open to $40. A small blind, the villain is going to call. The small blind in this hand is a winning player, kind of an ABC pro. He is winning at 5-10. May fall into some of the same pitfalls that a lot of live pros fall into. Maybe calling a little bit too much pre-flop, floating flops a little bit too wide, telegraphing their hand strength with their sizing just a little bit, and probably under bluffing slightly on turns and rivers, especially when we take aggressive action. So that's the description of the villain in hand, who is going to call from the small blind. We're going to go heads up to a flop, which comes King 7-3 with 3 clubs, and at this point the villain checks it over to us, and 1 minute is on the clock. Ready, set, go. Okay, small blind's going to be a lot tighter calling than the big blind. I think on a king high board, people don't defend nearly
we're starting the session.
As much as they should, especially on a monotone board, people are starting finding bluffs. So I think we can bet pretty liberally with our range, just generally betting small, like 25 or 30%. For 85, you could even just get away with flicking a quarter. And I think there's going to be a lot of snap folds. I would probably just bet small and fold to aggression because people underbluff in these spots.
Perfect, so 25?
Yeah, cool.
He is going to call. Turn is an ace of clubs. 1 minute to do whatever you want. Ready, set, go.
The majority of our range is going to want to check here, including hands that contain a club. I think that if we bet, we are actually quite polar. Even though we have top pair, it falls into like the middling of our range. We're not trying to bloat a pot. We have enough showdown. We still beat all of his king X, 7X, and middling pairs that call the flop. I think we just check back and see a river.
All right, so we are going to check back. River is a 7. He bets 85. You have 1 minute on this river. Ready, set, go.
Insanely hard to find bluffs here. I think he has to turn king X into a bluff, 3X into a bluff, 5-4, hands of that nature, but generally he has zero pure bluffs in his range, I think. What is his range when we show up in this river? 7X, king X, flushes, ace X. Like he's betting ace X or king X for value, or even 7X and a 4 flush board. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
5 seconds.
I would just fold. I wouldn't really give it too much thought. I would just find a better spot in a soft game.
Something you really want to learn early about these monotone boards is that you can use a lot of small sizes if you want to. Now, it doesn't mean you have to balance them. There's a ton of hands that have just absolutely whiffed completely. Ace 5 of spades, or he's got deuces, no club, or he's got like queen, jack of hearts. There's a million of these hands. So pretty often when I'm bluffing, I will go small, and when I'm value betting, I'll choose a different size. Sometimes against some people, I have to balance it. It's one of those spots that's very face up if the person's a very thinking player. Given the villain description that you've given me, I'll just choose a small size and exploit the inelasticity in his range and see bet something around 15.
So we are going to go 15. He is going to call. And the turn is now in ace of clubs. And he is going to check it over to us. Ready, set, go.
The two options that I can think of are dependent on how good my live reads are and how good my reads are on the player in general. If our reads are going to be pretty good, which is going to be pretty often against this player type, and given that he telegraphs his hand strength, I think that this is going to be the right person to do it against. We can check back, thinking that he's probably going to bluff pretty big. He's probably going to choose a pretty big size, and then if he has a smaller club, he will end up betting pretty small. It's not super common for him to just turn up with like the queen of clubs. There's not too many hands. The other option is to bet small, like 15 again on the turn, thinking he's going to call his king
5
X.
seconds.
But for this person, I'll check.
So the river is a 7, carrying the board. He bets 75. You have 1 minute. Ready, set, go.
If I have a tight image, I can consider raising here. Given my image, I would pretty much always go for the live reads, usually call. Usually when people are betting this size, they're only representing the queen or jack of clubs, maybe the 10 of clubs, and he is going to turn up with a bunch of bluffs on the river. Something like 6s, no club, something along those lines. Going for a raise here, you can very likely get the range fold, depending on the player type, and this is where your intuition has to really kick in. Like, imagine he has got the jack of clubs. How much do you think that he will fold? Could be 400, could be 500, could be 600, could be 700. Only the intuition of reading the situation and reading the player can kick in. I think I'll go for something like 575.
All right, so hand 1, Corey elected to c-bet relatively small here, and he decided to check back the turn when he made top pair. And when villain came out and bet a chunky size on this river, Corey decided that villain was under bluffing here, so therefore he would fold, which seems like a pretty good play. Charlie, on the other hand, elected to go with an even smaller c-bet size here on the flop, just figuring that villain's going to have so many hands that just have to snap fold, even to a very tiny size. He also checked back the turn, and then on the river, he deduced, just like Corey, that villain is under bluffing here, but then he also figured out that because he bet so small on the flop, villain would probably fast play pocket 7s, pocket 3s, a good amount on the flop. Villain just never has pocket kings here, especially because he has an ace in his hand. It's just very unlikely that the villain here ever has a full house, so Charlie elected to turn his hand into a bluff. These are all real hands, by the way. These are hands that I played. I actually took a similar line to Charlie here. I raised slightly bigger on the river. I believe I made it 700 in-game. So villain actually flashed the queen of clubs, and he folded the queen high flush. So the difference between Corey and Charlie's play on this river, Corey found a good play, which is folding to a villain, which is under bluffing. Charlie actually considered all of the options here and found found an even higher EV play to bluff raise on this river and get villain to fold the queen high flush. So after hand one, we'll keep track of results here, and this isn't going to be an end-all be-all because we're just going to keep track of results against villain's exact hand and not against their range. But Corey after hand one is down $65 or 6.5 big blinds. Charlie after hand one is up $140 or 14 big blinds. All right, next hand here. This time we are playing 20-40. We are 7,000 effective, so it's going to fold around to us in the button. We are going to open with 8-4 of hearts to $110 with 2 recreational players in the blinds. And the big blind, who is going to be the villain in the hand, is going to call. This player probably falls into a lot of pitfalls that trying recreational players fall into in today's live game. Probably calling a little bit too much pre-flop, not 3-betting nearly enough out of the big blind, floating too much on the flop, fast playing his strong hands at slightly too high of a frequency, and he does have a fold button. He has seen that the player pool under bluffs in many nodes, so when a lot of money goes in, he is capable of folding, and like most trying recreational players, he is massively under bluffing himself in almost every single node. So he is going to call. We are going heads up to a flop, which is ace queen 3 with a heart, and he is going to check it over to us. This time we have 45 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go.
On ace queen X boards, button versus big blind, we're actually a lot similar in range than I used to think. So I think a lot of people just bet small here. The strategy, I think, in theory, should be overbet or check because we just show up with so many hands that are whiffs here. If we're going to choose this one to bet, then I think we should.
Pocket tens, what it is. Either bet like 300, 325, or just check, I think.
10 seconds.
I don't know, just check.
Cool.
I think
So
just
we are going to check
check
back. Now the turn is an offsuit 5. He comes out and bets 180. Ready, set, go.
I mean, we have nothing but a gut shot. Still have ace X. We still have queen X. We still have flush draws. We're not always going to be betting these hands. I actually don't know what to do here. This is actually a blunder spot. I think just against a player like this,
5,
I'm
2,
gonna fold.
fold.
So the main thing that you want to be focusing on here, the main heuristic, is exploiting inelasticity. So imagine he's got an ace, he's going to be calling 40, and he's going to be calling 300. If he's got clubs, it's the same kind of story. In these spots, you want to be value betting big and bluffing small, so you play big pots of big hands, small pots of small hands. Mathematically, it works out very, very nicely in your favor. We have the dream hand to be double barreling with and on pretty much every single turn, so I'm going to be betting something around 50.
So we go 50 here, and he is going to call turn, which is an offsuit 5, and he checks it over. Give us your thoughts. Ready, set, go.
So my mama always used to tell me this one thing. Charles, let's call Charles another. Never try and bluff a fish off the top there. I often thought, I see this as a challenge. Find a size that he folds almost everything. How much do we need to bet for him to fold his 10? Because if he's folding his 10, he's folding a ton of other things. So for that,
8 seconds.
I'm probably going to bet something around 885.
100% pure magnesium viscoisonate. It's just better, clearly.
Life is full of questions. How do I get an release date? Here's Tide. Do I need to crush your guacamole? No, Tide.
Why do we even buy napkins?
Thankfully, Tide's the answer to almost all of them.
Do crabs have eyebrows?
Is that valid?
For all of life's laundry questions, it's got to be Tide.
So you spotted your first gray. Don't panic. Comb in just for men's really gray coverage. The grays are history. And you're on top of the world.
Alright, so we go 885. He does call. The river is an ace, and he checks to us, ready, set, go.
So his range is going to be very condensed here. Actually, a lot of it is going to be the 3x and 5x of clubs. Like, a lot of it is going to be that. There's also going to be some sticky ace-x, although I do think most of that's going to fold on the turn. Every now and again, ace-deuce. Every now and again, ace-10, ace-jack. Can we get a range folds, apart from versus ace-5? I think the answer is yeah. I think I go with something like 4,300 and just assume we're going to get the range fold bar ace-5, so 4.3k.
So we go 4.3k. He is going to fold. Let me ask you this. If the reason you went 4.3k instead of all in is because just you save a little bit of money against a hand like ace-5, right?
Yeah, I think people are going to probably fold either way. And then when he does have like either ace-5 or a slow played ace-3, or somehow like 5s with a club on the
Should have king, queen, and then I'm good.
here. Corey elected to play an overbet or check strategy on this board, which I kind of like. Like, I would probably play an overbet or check strategy on this board quite a lot as well. Probably for different reasons than Corey mentioned. I wouldn't be playing an overbet or check strategy because it's theory or because it's good. I would be playing this strategy because I think villains are just going to have too much ace X calling from the big blind, and they're just probably not going to fast play enough of their strong hands. Now, this board is a little bit more wet dynamic than most ace high boards, so I may just deviate and bet range here, figuring villain will raise off hands like ace 3 or pocket 3s or ace queen. But Corey elected to check back here, going to the turn. Villain came out and bet big on the turn. Corey's just got a naked gut shot, so he found a fold. Charlie, on the other hand, elected to c-bet his range, chose a small size, which I like on this particular board. Villain did call. Charlie went with the double barrel here on the turn. He chose a very big size, going over 2x pot on this turn, and villain called, going to the river, which was an ace. And Charlie figured at this point the only brick wall he really runs into on this river is a hand like ace 5, where Charlie figured that pocket 3s would probably raise on the flop, ace queen would raise on the flop, or 3-bet pre-flop. So the only hand he's really worried about running into that's going to call on this river is a hand like ace 5. He figured on this river he could get the folds from hands like ace jack, ace 4, ace 10, ace deuce that stuck around to the big bet on the turn. So he went for the big boy chunky overbet size here on this river and got villain to fold. Villain actually had ace jack in this hand. In game, I chose a slightly different strategy than Charlie. I actually decided to go very, very small. I went smaller on the turn, so I figured villain just had more ace X getting to the river. I was worried that villain may not fold ace X, worried that I may run into some brick walls like ace 5. I went 20% pot on this river to try to get villain just to fold his flush draws, his 3x of clubs, his 5x of clubs. And actually, villain just 3x'd it on this river. I did not think a 3x raise was the size that villain would take with hands like full houses. Thought he was just trying to go for thin value with a hand like ace jack or ace 10. So I actually bet 3-bet jammed on this river, and villain folded the ace jack. So on hand 2, Corey lost about 2.75 big blinds, and Charlie won 26.5 big blinds. So after 2 hands, Corey down about 9 bigs, Charlie up over 40 bigs so far. All right, next hand here, we are playing 20-40 again. This time it's going to fold around to a fish on the button who is going to open almost 9x here. He's going to open to 350. This player is kind of a typical live fish. He's going to be transparent with his sizing. He is going to be passive. He's going to be under bluffing. He's probably going to be calling too much, specifically on flops and turns. Probably going to be fast playing his value way too much, and is going to be massively, massively under bluffing. Just so when he does open for this size, it's probably going to indicate strength, and it is going to fold to us here. We are in the big blind with ace queen of clubs. Obviously against the range, it's going to open a 9x. This hand not feeling good about 3-betting. We can throw that option out the window. Maybe folding could just be an option, but we decide to call here. Pretty good hand, hard to fold this one. Would probably just pitch it if we had like this queen off. So we are going to call. Flop comes queen 8-4 now, and we are going to check it over, and he is going to bet $600 into 720 on this flop. You have 30 seconds for each decision point. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, if we hit a queen, are we good? If we hit an ace, are we good? Are we going to get value from tens or jacks? Probably not. Like, I don't know. I don't really like this. I would probably just fold this pre.
All right, 30 seconds. Ready, set, go.
See, like, this is the problem with playing this hand, because now the fuck are we? We can't fold now because we have top pair and a backdoor flush draw. Raising would be a punt because we're just going to fold out hands like jacks, tens, and get called by aces, kings. Yeah, this is like why we're in like no man's land. Not looking too good already, but when we call pre, we have to call flop.
We're gonna call queen of hearts. 30 seconds. Ready, set, go.
I think we actually consider leading this card. Like, checking is certainly standard, but against the fish, they're not going to fold aces and kings. They're probably not going to even fold jacks or tens on this card because they're going to be like, oh, you're leading a queen, that makes no sense. They're probably going to check aces and kings. So against the fish, I actually kind of want to go like 1200 here.
1200. 1.2k and a call going to the river, which is a beautiful offsuit deuce. Ready, set, go.
When we take this line, when we lead turn, I think we have one option, which is to go all in here. And he's going to be like, oh, he's just bluffing with jack 10, 10, 9, jack 9. All of our gut shots on the flop that we have to turn into a bluff because now we need to find bluffs. Never bluff this spot. You don't have to be balanced, especially against the whale for this size pre. Just fold all those hands pre. I don't think he's going to fold aces, kings. He might even hero call with jacks or 10s. We don't want to check this, give him the option to check back. I'm all in.
Flop comes queen 8-4 with the 4 of clubs, rainbow. We check it over to him.
Whoa, we check it? No, that's fine. Hey, enjoy your check.
Okay, we check it over to him on the button, and he goes 600 here.
Oh, thank God we checked.
On, ready, set, go.
So this is actually a really good spot for a speech play. And what I would do here is make some kind of big gesture. Be like, no, I guess I have to call. Hope you're not trapping me. Something like that. Because I really don't want him to double barrel because I will fall to a turn bet. I think his range is going to be some aces and kings, a decent amount, and then it's going to be like some random, just like pocket jacks, pocket tens, ace king, ace jack, ace nine, hands like this. So we have to call and hope he doesn't double barrel attacks. Probably folding unless we improve.
Turn is a queen, bringing in backdoor hearts. Ready, set, go.
We need to think of a sizing. Again, assuming that his range is going to be ace king, pocket jacks, pocket tens, he's not going to be double barrel in this turn in a million years. So we just leave a size that he's still going to be calling with random queen, aces, kings, jacks, and tens. You have to use your intuition. I don't know what the guy looks like, but let's just assume we can get all in by the river if we go something like 1300.
And a call. River is the beautiful offsuit deuce. Ready, set, go.
So obviously we're shoving, but the question is how do we shove? And this is something where if you can increase the chances of him calling by 5% by doing something live, then your win rate is just gonna, in these big spots, is just gonna be so much more. So you have to look nervous, but you can't look like you're intentionally looking nervous. So you do your best to go stare for a bit, wait for the
3 seconds.
Get down. Yeah, wait for the call. I'm all in.
All right, so hand 3 here. Corey actually kind of wanted to fold pre-flop, which I could get on board with. I think that would be perfectly fine to fold here pre-flop. Queen a4, check called on the flop, and then found the nice donk on the turn. Just go directly deducing that villain. Would almost always check back if he had an overpair or even a hand like pocket jacks here, but those hands just never folding. And then goes for the big boy jam here, figuring villain's just not going to believe it, not going to be able to fold a hand like kings or aces. And villain did in fact call here. Charlie took almost the exact same line, just went a little bit bigger here on the turn to slightly reduce the SPR on the river. Donked all in on the river again, and villain did call, and he showed that he had pocket kings here. So both players played this hand very, very well. So in hand 3, both players won stacks here, up about $6,020 each for 150.5 big blinds. Corey is up 141 bigs, and Charlie is up 191 bigs after 3 hands. Next hand here, we're playing 5-10, 2.2k effective, going to fold around to us on the button. Going to open king 3 of spades to 35. Fish in the small blind is going to call, and now a reg in the big blind is going to call. Fish is just a typical loose, passive, kind of losing player at 5-10. So the reg in the big blind, kind of a tight ABC winner. I would say that when the pots are small, he's bluffing at an appropriate amount, calling at an appropriate amount, folding at an appropriate amount. When the pots get really big, I would say he's probably under bluffing and over folding, like most live regs. Probably tends to fast play his hands a little bit too much on early streets, and probably tends to under bluff specifically on later streets. So those are the notes on the reg and the fish. We're going to a flop, which comes 9-9 deuce with a couple of spades. Going to check around to us on the button here, and for this hand, the shot clock is at 20 seconds. Ready, set, go.
I think on this board texture, we can just get away with betting very small because both players are going to fold out a majority of their range. Against 2 opponents, I generally like to go half pot.
Interesting, he checked. I want to check back so that he leads, but I don't want to check. if he has queen 9. Yeah, I'm pretty sure something there. Wow, he called queen 9 of clubs or jack 9 of clubs. Wow. I can't believe yeah, that was unfortunate. The flush card opened. Didn't have anything. Yeah, I think if cards can kill you, it kills you. That's it.
Probably just bet 50.
Small blind folds, and the big blind check raises to 175. Ready, set, go.
On this board texture, it looks like we have nothing because we're just going to open from the button. We have so many hands in our range. It looks like we missed this flop. So if he's going to check raise, that means he can check raise quite literally with hands like 8-7, Jack 10, things of this nature. So I'm going to call.
Turn is a queen of hearts. He goes 300. Ready, set, go.
Against this size, I think we actually consider folding. I mean, if he's starting to underbluff turns, then he's actually really weighted towards value. I don't know if he's spazzing with like a hand like 6s.
3.
Probably fold.
So you can actually bet really small here, hoping that somebody's going to raise, because if they raise as a bluff, you win this pot pretty often, like pretty often. That being said, we are going to be double barreling. We want them to call the raise highs on the flop, so we have two choices. We either bet 40 or we bet 20. I bet 20 because I want to double barrel this hand against ace highs.
So small blind is going to fold, and big blind is going to check raise to 70. Ready, set, go.
So generally when he goes this small, I don't think he's going to be too weighted towards 9x, but I think he'll telegraph his size, his hands with his size on the turn pretty often. He's going to have some pocket pairs, he's going to have God deuce X, and he's going to have a few bluffs at backdoors that people feel like they have to do, so obviously calling, but always think about his range.
So we are going to call turn, which is a queen of hearts. He is going to go 170. Ready, set, go.
Alright, so I was hoping that he was going to go small so we could pounce on that and make him fold 7s or something, 6s, 5s, something like that. He's now relatively credibly repping a 9. That being said, I don't think he's going to triple off if he is bluffing too often, so I'm actually going to go for a snap call here on the turn to make it look more like I have something like aces or maybe a tricky 9 myself.
So we are going to call. Now the river is a king of hearts. He is going to bet 250. Ready, set, go.
Alright, so here's what I do.
Okay, first of all, what is Swiss Hockey? We're a hockey stick company. We're trying to make hockey more affordable. Even if it's just one person, I want to make them join hockey and include them in the sport I love, make it more accessible.
Reclaim your pathway with Roundup Advanced 5-liter ready-to-use pump and go. Control weeds on hard surfaces. Our extendable wand targets weeds with maximum accuracy. See results in 1 to 2 days and clear your path.
Maker is fast, non-drowsy allergy symptom relief that does not slow you down, so you can keep your day going. It's a no-brainer.
Because getting home late gets you that look. Give more love than humanly possible when you feed a Hill's scientifically proven formula. Because you're only human, there's Hill's.
AZN makes every winning moment even more epic. Staying nearby gets you close to what matters most. Right from let's go to OMG whoop.
I mean, I guess I'm all in. That's what I do.
why you decided instantly to move all in here.
So it really feels like he has a 9. I don't think that somebody chooses this size as a bluff. It just doesn't feel very natural to go small on the river as a bluff. There's no other value hand that will go this size. If he has even a straight, he'll end up going bigger. If he has a boat, he'll go bigger. People hate to call it in, especially when they think they're uncapped. You get in these weird spots sometimes where somebody thinks they're uncapped, but they're not because they've done something to telegraph the strength of their hand. So you get to really pounce on what should be an uncapped range, but happens to be a capped range.
So we move all in. He's going to tank and tank and tank. Finally, he folds. All right, hand 4 here, and Corey chose to c-bet the flop, got check raised and called. And then when villain chose a big size on the board, on a paired board with just a king high flush draw, Corey elected to fold here. Charlie also c-bet the flop, but chose a much smaller size here multi-way, which just gave him a little bit more stack depth to maneuver, even when he did get check raised. And when villain barreled the turn with this deep of stacks behind to a smaller bet, Charlie elected to call, going to the river, which was a king. And when villain came out and bet 250 on this river, Charlie just astutely pointed out here that when villains choose this size, they just get a little bit more greedy when they have a hand like pocket 2s, queen 9, king 9. They're just targeting top of range here when they have those types of hands. And this type of bet felt like it was trying to get called by exactly the type of hand that Charlie had. So Charlie just deduced here that yes, he's got the king blocker in his hand, but it doesn't really matter. Blockers don't matter when villains are face up with their range, because villains will just choose a bigger size here when they have a full house. So Charlie elected to go all in here. He pointed out something I thought was really interesting. Raise in the spot in the big blind will just say, well, you know, I've got pocket deuces and queen 9 and king 9 to call here, so I'll wait for a better spot to call. But actually they don't have those hands, because those hands rarely choose this size on the river. So Charlie, figuring all that out in a very limited amount of time, goes all in on this river, gets villain to fold. I chose the same line as Charlie here, although I did go a little bit bigger on the flop. Villain did not show, but because he tanked on the river and then folded, I am assuming that he folded a 9. Alright, so after 4 hands, Corey is up about 120 big blinds, and Charlie up 247 big blinds, so really pulling into the lead here. Alright, let's turn up the pressure. This time we are playing 20-40, and we're going to open king 10 of spades and the cutoff to 110. A recreational player is going to 3-bet on the button to 350. Couple notes on this guy. I would say when all the money goes in, he's probably under bluffing, but he is capable of 3-betting pretty aggressively. He is probably c-betting and double barreling a decent amount. He does have a fold button because he has seen, especially from pros, that pros are definitely under bluffing in this game. So he's capable. Villain's exact hand. I think this play against Villain's range is actually pretty good here, because most of Villain's range, I think, getting to the river is going to be Ace King, Ace Queen type hands, and those hands may either call this tiny size, or it may. 10 seconds on the 0.2k. He is going to call rivers and offsuit deuce. Ready, set, go.
4k.
4k, and he is going to fold.
So my gut says I have to lead this ball. I have to go size. His A size is going to call. His overpass is going to raise. I'm going to bet 200.
All right, 200, and he is going to call. Turn is a jack. Ready, set.
Okay. BC easy to do checks after some time. Why don't I like raise it to 9?
$323 big blinds. Charlie on about 14.2k for 409 big blinds. Kind of the cash results are a little bit misleading. If you look at the big blind results here, Charlie won about 85 more big blinds across 7 hands here, which is pretty significant. And my biggest takeaway here isn't the results, it's the thought process. I'm always trying to prioritize process over results. And after listening
Interesting hand, Allah. I folded a king, but I had two pairs, but this guy went all in. Queen, jack, king, 7. Let's see though, let's see. 6 pair. Funny, doesn't it? Alright, it's getting missing. Of course he wants to check. He doesn't have anything. Bet any of these. It is. Definitely doesn't have a jack. Come on. Raises 2 min, raise 8. So stupid. I don't know what he's trying to do. It's a tough one. Poker is mentally draining, tough. Things are not going your way. It's tough. It's a lot of patience, buddy. Do that again. Nice job. Unbelievable. Who the fuck does this jack? Yeah, unbelievable left jack. Tough one, tough one. This is just like an out of position check, right? You know, raise is like what? This guy never 3 bets, but he's betting the first time 3-bet. Hi, can I have my name on the wait list for 1-3? Yeah, it's Madhu. Madhu, Madhu. Alright. Total error, just Zaza. It's not penis. Today has been brutal. Today has been a day of losses. You can't do much. That's how the game is. I'm gonna buckle up and come back strong. Must have it here. He's overbetting because I called the turn. I'll just give it to him. He hasn't. So it's been that kind of a day. But yeah, I mean, this I could have folded. I'm blocking a lot of things. Yeah. Flop. That kind of a day. It's been brutal. Action. Yeah. So yeah, today was a day of losing day, and yeah, it's gonna mentally put you down. It can be brutal. So yeah, I'm gonna push myself to come back strong, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.